We're continuing to talk on the subject of encouragement and will for several days now because I think it's so important. We look at the world around us and it's such a critical world, isn't it? We hear only the negative sides of things. As a matter of fact, it's been quite interesting to me. NBC Nightly News, if you'll ever notice, gives 25 minutes of news and advertisements, sometimes 27 or 28 minutes of news and advertisements. And then to end on a positive note, they have a positive, uplifting story for 2 minutes. 2 minutes out of 30 are something positive instead of negative. That's a negative world we live in. As a matter of fact, when was the last time somebody really encouraged you? When was the last time you encouraged someone? It's interesting. A person can do 100 good things. Let them do one bad thing, and what will people talk about? Not the 99 good things, and one bad thing is what focuses on their attention. And so we find in 1 Samuel chapter 23, verses 14 through 17, the story of David. David's out in the wilderness, and Saul is out to kill him. David's aware that Saul wants to kill him, and it had to have been discouraging for David because David had been loyal to Saul. Nevertheless, when David was at perhaps one of his lowest points, concerned about the fact that Saul wanted to kill him, in verse 16 it says that Jonathan, Saul's son, rose and went to David at Horesh and encouraged him in God. Thus he said to him, "Do not be afraid, because the hand of Saul my father will not find you, and you will be king over Israel, and I will be next to you. And Saul my father knows that also." Interesting, isn't it? The son of the current king went out to encourage David, and he encouraged him in the Lord. In the New Testament, it tells us the same kind of message. In Romans chapter 15, verses 1 and 2, it says, "Now we who are strong ought to bear the weaknesses of those without strength, and not just to please ourselves. Each of us is to please his neighbor for his good and for his edification." Now, we shouldn't go around trying to encourage others like we've got it all together and we never need encouragement ourselves. But we should do it for the purpose of encouraging the neighbor for his edification. He goes on and says this in verse 4. "For whatever was written in earlier times was written for our instruction, so that through perseverance and the encouragement of Scripture, we might have hope." The Scripture is filled with encouragement. Jesus was an encourager. Paul was an encourager. You see, we need to encourage one another. We live in a negative world, a world of discouragement, and we need to come alongside of one another and encourage one another. Not to make us feel good because we're an encourager, but because we all need encouragement. And that's my thought for the day. I hope you go encourage somebody today.